Hey, good morning. So today I'm going to give you the four main reasons that are blocking your ability to receive big in your business and what to do instead. I'm sorry I'm a few minutes late. I was having technology issues. So the work I do with clients all about like expanding their capacity to receive at a radical new level and in a new way, because it's not just about bringing in more money, bringing in more clients. It's about doing it in a way that feels really nourishing, really easeful, and enjoyable to our nervous system, to our lifestyle, um, to our bodies, essentially. So, a lot of us, so many people I work with have been programmed to do, to give, and they're either not seeing the results they truly desire when they come to see me, or they're doing too much, exerting too much effort, too much time, too much energy into their business for the results that they are seeing. And they know it's not sustainable long term. So it's not why they got into business to begin with, right? So that tends to be the two main reasons somebody comes to see me. They're either burnout or close to it, or they know more is possible and they're not quite seeing it with the ease that they desire to see it. Um, so today I'm going to give you the four main reasons I see over and over and over for that, for why they're being held back on what's possible, why they're not receiving big or as big as they could without having to kill themselves. So welcome for those of you who don't know me. I'm Ilsa. I'm in beautiful, sunny Boulder, Colorado. Tell me where you are watching from. I'm a licensed therapist, an expansion expert, and a business strategist. I've been in private practice in business for myself for over 15 years. I essentially teach soulful entrepreneurs and transformational leaders how to regulate and recode their nervous system for expansive growth and radical receiving, and how to rewire their whole business from messaging to marketing to offers to pricing for authentic authority, easeful client attraction and enrollment. Because if we're attracting clients but not enrolling them, what's the point? And wealth. So if you're ready to shift your state of being, your life, and your business completely in 2023, then we should connect. You can book a free Wired for Wealth call by checking the link in the description. Okay, so let's get started. For most of us, I'm looking, Facebook's doing something weird, but I think it's working. All right, for most of us, starting our business was a way to find essentially something that would make us good money while always also doing good work in the world. And we wanted to do something we truly believed in without sacrificing what was most important to us, whether that's our health, our family, our freedom, our joy, our time, our energy. That was obviously very true for me, still is very true for me. It is a priority for me. And it is true of, I think, every single client I work with. Oh, thanks, Sharon. Sharon's saying you're live. Okay, good. Thank you. Um, in the end, your relationship with your business is like every other relationship. It is a mutual exchange. It has to have balance. So your business needs to support you, needs to care for you, needs to give to you as much as you support it, you care for it, and you give to it. And it's when that equity, that exchange gets out of balance and stays out of balance for too long, that we're either going to end up burnout, we're going to end up resentful because we're doing too much, we're working too hard, we're not making enough, and it just doesn't feel good. Business has to feel good. It has to feel good for you. It has to feel good for your clients. So if you're not seeing results in with the ease that you would like, you're not having in your business an experience of feeling really delighted, really nourished, really supported, at peace in your business and by your business, then more than likely you're going to be able to relate to one or more of these four main reasons, four main patterns or blocks that I see show up over and over and over with clients that keep them from being able to receive big with a lot more ease. So here's number one. And they're going to switch back and forth. Some of them are going to be inner work. Some of them are going to be outer work, like energy, strategy, identity, strategy. So number one is your current level of success is always going to match your current level of belief about what's possible. Let me repeat that. Your current level of success is usually a match and usually matches your current level of belief about what you think and feel and know in here is possible. So to receive big, you have to literally normalize in your body receiving big. Like to be able to actually receive it and hold it, it has to first feel normal, ordinary, second nature, familiar in here. Asking and receiving the kind of money that you desire is literally about it feeling like a done deal in your nervous system, in your body, as well as your mind. If not, you sabotage it. If it doesn't feel safe, or if you don't think it's possible, or if it feels like really far away, then it's almost impossible to achieve it. And even if you do achieve it, it's not possible to sustain it. So when you haven't normalized that you get to receive big, and receiving is in the cards for you, and it's not familiar yet inside your own body, and you haven't rewired your identity around it, then something's literally closed. And it doesn't feel safe for you to actually allow what you desire in. I like to say that the nervous system is literally either a prosperity portal, like a magnet for prosperity, or it's like a moat. So it's either a magnet or a moat. It either attracts and brings in, or it literally keeps at bay what you desire, depending on how expanded or contracted your nervous system essentially is. So when we haven't normalized that making big money, making a lot of money is possible for us, then what happens is, because it doesn't feel safe to receive, there's something in us that's always like, even if we do receive, we're waiting for the other shoe to drop, or we feel like we're going to have to really earn it. So we overwork and we over deliver, or we overstuff our offers or our programs, or there's something in us that is afraid that there's going to be a cost to us receiving big, that you're going to pay for it in another way. So, patterns I see with people is, they'll get a big month and then they'll get sick, or their car will break down. So that's something where it's like, well, we feel like we always have to pay for it or sacrifice for receiving big. And what happens is that because it hasn't been normalized in your nervous system, and it doesn't feel familiar, and it doesn't feel possible, and it doesn't feel safe, you literally start sabotaging it. You start being the moat. You start saying, well, fuck it. If I'm going to have to pay for it, if I'm going to have to over deliver for it, if I'm going to have to earn it, if I'm going to have to sacrifice for it, if there's going to be a big cost for it, I don't want it. Obviously, that's not conscious. And that's the push-pull that I see with a lot of people. It's something in them really wants to get to that next level. And something in them is also saying no. So there's a tug of war happening inside them. So then they start sabotaging. They're either sabotaging the sale, they're not making offers, they're quoting their old price, they're not following up, they're procrastinating, they're not executing on their strategies, like something's happening. So to make receiving at that next level feel safe and comfortable in your system, in your body, and for you to embody that next version of you who gets to receive and gets to receive at this level with ease day after day, you literally have to start playing with that idea. You have to start feeling it in here. You have to start seeing, like literally training your brain, that reticular activation system, training your brain to notice that money's everywhere. Money's all around. I have actually a really simple, and I'll do a post about this, but I have a simple practice that I started doing a little while back. I don't know. I read it in some book. And it's basically like I have money everywhere in the house. And I don't mean like a dollar bill. I have multiple $50 bills, $100 bills, a couple $100 bills, like in all sorts of ways around the house. Like, so I'll open a drawer and there will be $100 bill. Or I'll wake up, I have one next to my bed on my bedside table. So the first thing I see in the beginning of the day, the last thing I see at the end of the night is a couple $100 bills right on my nightstand. I have money in my bathroom. So if I open something to get, like to literally get like a toothpaste or get something, there will be like, now if you've got kids, you might not be able to do that with that much ease because the money will disappear. But I don't have kids. So literally like in the kitchen, in the bedroom, in the bathroom, in my office, in different random places, there's money hidden. And what that does is it's really literally retrain my brain, retrain my nervous system that there's money everywhere. And there's big money everywhere. And when I started doing that, I was starting to normalize essentially that money's everywhere. And it's okay to have it. And I started relaxing around money. And money started coming to me with a lot more ease. And I didn't start at 50 or 100. I started with $20 bills everywhere. Then it moved to 50 everywhere. Now it's moving to $100 bills everywhere. Yeah, it's super simple. It's fun. And there's something that happens in us. Now, the other thing that happens in the process of normalizing receiving big is you got to be willing to be uncomfortable. Whenever you raise your fees, and you start quoting that fee, don't expect it to feel comfortable. That's part of the nervous system work, right? Like when I work with a client and we're raising their rates, we're going to work on that new number in the nervous system so that my client feels really expanded, really excited, really nourished by that new number by the time they say it to make it easier. But it's like even when you start doing that and you get a no, that's okay. Like you essentially stay with a number until you feel really comfortable with it, until you have absolutely no doubt that that's your price or you can make that much money, and you normalize it. So that's number one. You shift your identity to the identity of somebody who has normalized receiving big. Here's the thing. At this level, you don't have a strategy problem. You have an identity problem. When things are not flowing in with enough ease, when you're not making as much as you want, when you're not able to raise your rates, when you're working too hard for the amount that you're making, it's not strategy. It's more than likely identity. How you see yourself and how you see and what you see as possible defines your capacity to receive and to hold what you desire. So for example, like you might want to finish this statement. People like me that are or have don't get to make big money. Like what's that thing right there? Like people like me who are introverted, people like me who are shy, people like me who are not super magnetizing or really attractive, people like me who don't speak English perfectly, people like me who have a bunch of kids at home. Whatever your thing is, like if you think of that statement, people like me who have don't get to make big money, whatever's there is the thing you have to literally rewire. My coach Shamika likes to say that when she thinks of wealth and rich people, she thinks of herself. And it didn't used to be that way for forever. She would think like she's a Black woman. She used to think people like who look like me don't get to be rich. And now it's like rich people look like me. And she's really normalized that she is the image, she is the identity of receiving. So receiving is an identity more than a strategy. So that's number one. Number two, and now we're shifting more towards strategy. The second reason you're not receiving as much as you want in your business, or as much as you could be receiving in your business, is because your business is overly complicated. Oftentimes, and that's especially true if somebody's been in business for a while and they're making decent money already, but they're working too hard, or they're not making as much as they know they should at this point in their business. Oftentimes, there's not as much ease because there's too much complexity. So many of us have been taught that successful business have a lot of moving parts. We are a society that is addicted to complexity. But in my experience, both from my own business, from my clients, from my mentors, and from colleagues that I know who have successful businesses, simplicity and clarity is what builds wealth and a happy, sustainable, scalable business. So simplicity and clarity are the foundational block to a thriving business, to something that to expansive growth, to radical receiving, to doing it from a place that feels good and that actually can sustain growth and not collapse on itself. So in this second block, essentially your model, something about your model, something about your messaging is creating confusion in you and in your audience, and is not allowing you to potentially become known as an authority in something specific and particular. And because you're not clear as to which direction your model should take, or which direction your marketing, your messaging should take, it creates overwhelm. It creates a sense of maybe even messiness in you and in your marketing, which is not allowing you to focus in one specific area or offer or strategy and really like start building momentum. So you either have your hands in too many baskets, you're trying to do too much, or you're shifting from too many strategies. You're not like, maybe you're trying to solve too many problems with, whatever it is that you're doing, or you have too many offers. Like, I have a client that I started working with, and literally, like, I looked at her website, and she had like 10 little mini courses, and she had a group program, and she had a hybrid, and then she had a really high-end one-on-one. And I was like, how do you know when you're selling what? And all of them, by the way, were not all dealing with the same thing. Like, one of them was offering something for peace, and then another one was offering something around intuition, and then one was for business. And I was like, whoa, it's like all over the place. Like, I'm confused. No wonder you're confused. And I bet you your clients are confused, and your marketing's confused, and your messaging's confused. And so part of what we're doing at this point, on top of working with the nervous system, is simplifying, clarifying, and just getting back to a business that's going to feel really simple and really good to grow. So if your business lacks simplicity, it lacks focus, it lacks direction, then there's not going to be a clear thread through your messaging, through your marketing, through your branding and your offers for you to gain traction and notoriety and momentum. So I refer to that as my golden thread, or your golden thread. It's the current or the underpinning that flows through your entire business, that essentially is like a big idea, something about what you do or what you focus on that's really different than your competition, and that gives you an edge. It makes you different. It positions you as unique. It positions your work and you as an authority or a thought leader in your field. And it allows you to ask for more, because based on how you've positioned it, you're very different from everybody else. It also gives you, when you're focusing on one direction, and that could be like that, focusing on that one big idea, maybe focusing on a couple different strategies in marketing, focusing on a couple different offers, but essentially everything's kind of leading back to that golden thread, then it gives a lot of clarity and a lot of simplicity and a lot of direction to your messaging, to your copy, to your branding, to your marketing, and your content, essentially. So that doesn't mean that you, by the way, you don't do other things in your business. You will. It's more about what you keep talking about and what you're focusing on. And that's going to make it really simple and clear for you and for your exquisite fit clients. So that's number two, is you're overly complicated. Your business model is complicated. You're offering too many things. Your hands is in too many pots. You're trying to solve too many problems. And there's something about it that's confusing and overwhelming to you and to your ideal client. And because of that, by the way, because it feels like too much, something in you will start sabotaging the growth. Because let's be honest, like my client I was talking about, like who's got like 15 different offers, who's kind of working with people on 5, 6 different things. Like if she starts thinking about her business really growing, like when a business grows, if your business is complex, what also grows is confusion and overwhelm and burnout. So because of that, you're literally going to sabotage your ability to allow clients in, your ability to market, your ability to execute, your ability to get visible, because something in you literally doesn't want to. So that's the second one. You'll block your growth and your ability to receive big if your business is too complicated or too overwhelming to you. Number three, biggest block I see for people not receiving big in their business. Yeah, Sharon says good point. Yeah, I think that's true for a lot of us, especially for soulful, kind of introverted, empathic entrepreneurs. We just thrive on simplicity and doing things that feel good. And if it gets to be too much or confusing, then we kind of shut down. Like our system will literally shut down. So that's number two. Number three is, and this is super common again with self entrepreneurs, is you're overgiving, you're undercharging, and you lack the confidence to charge or sell the value of your work. Not your value, but the value of your work. So this is both an identity issue and a strategy issue. So the bottom line is, from a strategic point of view, you have to do the math, right? Like for me, for example, I have a group program, but I do a lot of work one-on-one with clients. And oftentimes, all my people in my group program are also one-on-one clients. And this is an extra way for them to get support and for me to share things with them that I'm not going to share in the one-on-one sessions. So I do a lot of work one-on-one. What that does mean is my time is limited. So I can't just charge $100 per session, because if I did that, I would, and my sessions tend to be long. They're usually like 90 minutes because we're working both on the nervous system and on the business strategy. Sometimes they're even a little longer than that. So I'm limited in terms of the amount of people that I can see per week. And the only way for me to have a sustainable business, to not grow resentful, to not feel overwhelmed, is to charge a decent amount. It's not outrageous, but I need to feel like I can pay my bills and I can go on vacation and I can feel really good serving people. So you have to do the math. Like, how many people can you actually work with at a time? How much do you want to make? Based on that, how much should you charge? So that's a math part. The other is, we have to understand that our pricing has absolutely nothing to do with us as individuals, as entrepreneurs, as practitioners, as healers, or our industry, or what we think our clients can afford. Your pricing is not about your worth or anything else. Your pricing is and should only be about the worth of your work. I don't know if you guys can hear my dog. She's like snoring, like almost sounds like I have a pig next to me. So your pricing should only be about the worth of your work and what becomes possible for your exquisite fit clients after working with you. Yeah. And Sharon says confused buyers don't buy. Absolutely. So if we are confused and overwhelmed, we will not want to sell. That we're back to number two. And if our audience, our potential clients are confused and overwhelmed, they will not want to work with us. So back to pricing. When you're pricing your offer, and I call that value-based pricing, You have to figure out like what's the long-term lifetime value in every area of your client's life when they work with you, when they do the work, when they are transformed. What is that worth? It's not about you. It's not about how many certifications you have. It sure as hell isn't about how many sessions you have in there, or like it really is about how their lives are transformed. It's about their future. So for example, like for me, I focus my work on shifting my client's identity and the strategies in their business in regards to growing their business with more ease and being able to make more money, right? Like, so being able to raise their prices confidently, feeling safe being seen, and being visible in their full expression, showing up as the giant that they are, boldly claiming the value of their work, like finding strategies and messaging that really honors them and is really on point and is going to be really compelling to their ideal client, like that kind of stuff, right? Like keeping their business simple, enrolling clients, all of that. But even though that's what I do and that's what I focus on, that's not everything that happens when I work with clients. Essentially, when I work with clients around like growing their business and transforming their nervous system for ease, visibility, and wealth, that's the outcome, that's a promise I talk about. But inside the container, inside our one-on-one, so much more than that happens. Like the rest of their lives are transformed. Like all the time, I hear almost every day, I have somebody who's telling me, you know, they're finally having the best sex of their lives. They're finally setting boundaries. They've started speaking to a family member that they haven't spoken to in years. They're sleeping through the night and having energy in the morning and being excited about the day ahead. You know, they had a blowout fight with their partner, and for the first time they held their ground and they didn't start screaming or break down in tears. I don't know, like I had a client at the beginning of this week who said to me, Ilsa, I looked at myself in the mirror this morning, and for the first time I liked what I saw. For the first time I liked the reflection in the mirror. I had somebody else right before the holidays who's had back pains and hip pains for a while, and suddenly it's gone and they feel like they've got more energy than they did at 25. None of that shit has to do with business or money, and yet it's coming up. And it's the same thing for you. When you work with a client, you might have a focus for your work, and that, again, that's that golden thread from, you know, like secret number 2 or block number 2. But even though you have a golden thread, even though you have a focus for your work and for what you do with clients, the entirety of your clients' lives is going to be transformed by working with you. You want to account for that in your pricing. You want to account for the fullness of the transformation you provide around or over time for your client's life. And you want to get really clear about that in here for you so that you can speak to that in your marketing. Just like I'm speaking to you right now about like, yeah, my clients enroll more clients with a lot more ease. They raise their rates, they make more money. That's all great and fun and wonderful. But they end up a different human with a completely different human experience at the end of working with me. And in some ways, honestly, that actually has more value sometimes to me than how much money they're making. Money is a happy ripple. It's a reflection of who we're being. So the work I do is actually I get to transform them so that they can show up powerfully and they can receive and hold money with a lot more ease. That's all. Your work is the same. You touch people's lives on numerous levels, at numerous levels of depth in a very grand scheme, and you want to be charging for that. That's the value-based pricing, and you want to be able to shift your marketing around that. Charging fairly empowers you, and it also empowers your client. It motivates them to do the work, to show up. It attracts clients who are highly committed to the transformation and are actually going to get results. And it allows you to feel really good about serving your clients and going the extra mile if you need to really support them. So that's the question you want to ask yourself, like, what's the long-term value of the transformation you provide? That's question one. Question two is, what would you like to be paid so you felt really excited to show up and serve your clients? Yeah, deep transformation at the end is priceless. And yet, as soulful entrepreneurs, we have to put a value on it so that we can price. And so that's why that value needs to honor both what becomes possible for the client and also what would feel really good to you. So you want to keep your pricing in this place. And that's part of the work I do with nervous system expansion work, is we expand your capacity to receive so that, like the idea of charging more doesn't feel so like impossible, unrealistic. Like there's no one in my audience that's going to pay that. Who's going to pay that for somebody who doesn't have a master's degree or never finished college? Like I hear all that shit all the time. So we shift the nervous system around that. Hey, Vicky. But it's also about like finding a number that just feels exciting to you without automatically putting you in contraction. Like, oh, you don't want that, because then you won't be able to say it with real confidence. And again, like pricing evolves, just like as you evolve, as your identity expands, the work you do expands, the pricing you charge expands as well. So that's number three. The reason, one of the reasons you can't receive as big as you deserve and desire is because you are undercharging and you are overgiving, which is creating resentment and overwhelm. So number four, and this is the last bit, you are not able to receive as big as you desire and deserve because you're operating from contraction instead of expansion. And this is super important. It is a major aspect of the work I do with clients. It is something that clients pay me thousands of dollars to work with me on. So pay attention. Success, results, doesn't take a huge amount of work or even a whole lot of time. Results require expansion. So it doesn't take time, it doesn't take a whole lot of hard work, it just takes expansion. Contraction in your system reminds you of all the times in your past where you have failed, where you've been denied, where you've been rejected, criticized. Contraction reminds you to stay safe, to play small, to be humble, to not ruffle feathers, to not get too big for your britches, to not get too confident because you might get hurt. Essentially, it reminds you to not climb too high. Like it reminds me of my mom a little bit. Like, don't do that, you might get hurt. Come down from there, you might fall off. Like, contraction reminds us to stay small and safe and to just be satisfied with what we've got. On the contrary, on the opposite of that, expansion is audacious. Expansion is bold. Expansion is courageous. Expansion doesn't mind discomfort on the short term or big leaps. On the contrary, it thrives on it. Expansion doesn't mind taking space and claiming your bigness. It thrives on it. Yeah, it's impossible to spread your wings when you're playing small. Now, Vicky says the last round of one-on-one coaching caused overwhelm. And maybe for you, like, one of my favorite model for business is a hybrid program. I love one-on-one work, so I'm never, and whenever, the one time I did only group work, I felt like I was really missing that connection. I haven't quite figured out how to do it in a way that really honors me and the client. But one of my most, like one of the ways I love to work with clients is a hybrid program where there is some one-on-one and then there's group support as well. It's scalable for me. I still get to go really deep with clients. They have amazing transformation, and it doesn't feel so overwhelming for me. That's something we can talk about today too, Vicky, if you want. I look forward to creating your Make It Rain offer. So expansion is audacious. Expansion is bold. Expansion thrives on taking space, on being big, on taking big leaps. Because expansion knows what's possible when you fully reclaim, unleash the fullness of your being, essentially, and you become fearless. And fearless, I don't mean by fearless like there's no fear, like we're human, right? There's always going to be fear, but there's more excitement than there is fear. I don't know who said this, but I read somewhere that, and it was probably one of those like psychologists who works a lot with the body. It might have been Peter Levine or something like that, but I heard that fear is actually excitement without breath. So when you really breathe into the fear, it actually transforms into excitement. Because on the other side of fear, it's almost like fear is the GPS, the compass your soul put in there for you to know what you're supposed to follow, for you to know where your next step is laying. On the other side of fear, on the other side of resistance, usually are results. So here's a big secret. It doesn't actually matter what you're selling. Your people are always buying the expansion they perceive in what you are selling. Let me say that again. It doesn't matter what you're selling. Your people aren't buying what you're selling. They're buying the expansion they perceive in what you're selling. That's true whether you're selling cars or vacation or healing or coaching. It doesn't matter. People buy the expansion. People buy the car because they think of what it's going to provide for them, the expansion, how good they're going to feel. They buy the coaching, they buy the healing for the expansion it's going to provide them. And the only way to sell expansion is by being expanded and operating from expansion yourself. Yeah. Sharon says, like, that's just like performing, like fear as well as excitement. Yeah. And Vicky, if you're working full time, doing a bunch of one-on-one work can feel really exciting. And so again, like there's a couple ways of doing that. One way would be to raise your rates. Like if that's the easiest way to work with clients and bring in clients, one way to do that is to raise your rates, or one way to do that is to create a hybrid so that even though it's tiring, you're not doing as much and you're bringing potentially more. So to get to your next level, you will need to step into your next level of expansion, to essentially step into the expansion state. And that will make your sales, it will make your marketing, it will make everything you do so much easier. It will make charging what you want to charge and receiving it so much easier, because your state of expansion literally will put others into a state of expansion. Your belief and your trust in what is possible will become their belief and their trust in what is possible. I am willing to bet that if you're struggling to reach your next level in your business with ease, with enjoyment, in a way that feels really nourishing both to your soul and to your bank account, it's not a branding issue. It's not a strategy issue. It's not a marketing issue. It's not a sales problem. It's an expansion problem. We're all wired for easeful and joyous wealth and freedom. But not everybody gets to get there. The potential for ease, for freedom, for wealth, for joy is in each of us. But we don't all find our way to the expansion that we need to embody to truly receive and experience that and live that at that level. Like we're all wired for abundance. But for us to live a truly abundant life, and I don't mean just money, although money's part of it, it requires us to be in a state that is big enough, that is expanded enough, that we can receive. Abundance is about more. You can only receive as big of a container as you are. So if you're like this big because you're all contracted, you're all tight, you're filled with doubts and second guessing and fear and overwhelm, then how much can you really receive and how much can you really give? Not much. Expansion is literally the foundation of receiving. Receiving is literally, I like to say, like money is a happy ripple. Money, success is a happy ripple of expansion. To receive, to have, to hold what you desire and to do it in a way that feels easeful, that feels nourishing, that feels simple, that feels joyful, you have to be able and capable in here to do that first. And now we're back to the first one that I talked about, which was normalizing. It has to feel normal. It has to feel comfortable. You have to be big enough that it's normal to receive big. So first you be, then you do, then you have or you receive. It's not the other way around. So radical receiving is the ripple. It's the gift of expansion. Just like the sweet smell of a rose is the ripple, the gift of a rose in full bloom. So, and expansion is always something that happens in here. It's not something that happens up here. And most of us know that we need to expand, that we need to have more energy, that we need to like think bigger. But we're here, we need to think bigger. We need to vision bigger. That's not the way it works. You think bigger, you vision bigger once you are bigger. First, you expand in the body, in the nervous system. And then that ripples out in every other aspect of yourself. Yeah, that's right, Sharon. We have to be in a place of expansion so we can create big things in our business too. It's definitely not all mindset. Like you can't get to sustainable, and I say sustainable expansion by saying affirmations or journaling or meditating or even some energy work. That's why a lot of us who do all this stuff, like we still have that seesaw where like we're continuously coming back into feeling drained and then having to go back. Like affirmations, journaling, meditating, energy work will expand you. But it doesn't expand you in my experience. A lot of it doesn't expand you to the point where you rewire and recode yourself and you are in a place of expansion. So if it did, all of us, every single person who is woo and isn't interested in self-development would be in a place of expansion at all time. That's just not reality. It's not the fact. So you simply have to go deeper than that. Your nervous system is either normalized or wired for contraction or has normalized and is wired for expansion. When you rewire your nervous system for easeful, delightful, sustainable growth and expansion, then everything else follows after that. Because that's like the hard wiring of, it's like the brain. The nervous system and the brain are extension of each other. So first you rewire the nervous system. Then that starts shifting your beliefs and your thoughts. Then it starts shifting your feelings, your emotions, your energies. Then it starts shifting how you're showing up, your self-expression, your actions, your executions. And then at the end of all of that, it starts shifting what you're receiving, what you're creating. And it does that to match. So first we shift the nervous system and then everything starts calibrating itself to the expansion level of your nervous system. And here's what happened in terms of expansion and why expansion is so important in life and in business. Everyone, from your partner to your kids, to your friends, to your potential clients, when you are rewired for expansion, starts to feel it and sense it. And you become like a lighthouse to them. They want to be in your field. They want to be with you, around you. They want to work with you. They want that glow. The expansion is like this sweet presence, this glow, and they want that regardless of what you're selling. I don't know if you've ever had that. I've definitely had that, where like you meet someone or you see someone and you love their energy. Like you love who they are. You almost don't give a shit what they're selling. You just want to work with them because you love who they're being. That's what expansion and expanding your nervous system starts to create. So here's some of the questions you want to ask yourself. What is expansion inviting you to let go of? And what is expansion inviting you to reclaim today? Like if you look at yourself and your life from expansion, from openness, from absolute certainty in your own sovereignty, in your own bigness, in the fact that you're here to create and serve and have and receive in a big way. What is expansion inviting you to let go of and to reclaim? What is expansion asking you to step into or do next? What is it requiring of you next so you can step in that next level of expansion, that next level of receiving, that next level of bigness in your own life and in your business? And I guarantee you, more than likely, it won't be comfortable or convenient. That's how big leaps happen. At first, they're not comfortable, they're not convenient, and then they get normalized. That's how change happens. Something feels off, it feels uncomfortable. We're there, we hold it, we breathe through it. It's like stretching. And then suddenly, like, our whole system normalizes it, and then we're able to go to the next level. That's kind of how it works. And sometimes it's a tiny step, and sometimes it's a huge step. So that's what I have for you. Let's recap really quickly the 4 steps and the 4, like essentially the 4 shifts you have to make with these 4 blocks. So the first one, to receive big, you have to rewire your brain and your nervous system so that receiving big is normal. It feels expected, it feels simple, it feels familiar, and it feels like it will not come at any cost whatsoever. As long as receiving feels like it's far away, it's going to be hard, it's going to come at a cost, it's not for you. Like as long as your identity is not in resonance, it's not calibrated for receiving big, you will push it away. You will not allow it in, you won't be able to hold it. So that's number 1. Number 2, you have to simplify your business so that it is clear and convenient to execute consistently on your end, and it is also clear for your clients to understand what it is that you're doing, to understand that it's for them, to understand how it's different from everybody else, and to participate with it. You want your audience to be really clear about what you do, how it's different, and find it really easy to take that next step with you. Number 3, you need to rewire your brain and your nervous system to shift out of overgiving, out of over-delivering, out of feeling like you got to prove yourself or the value of your work in some ways. And you got to really embody that value at a whole new level. You got to really, in your bones, know how amazing what you do is and how much people are transformed by it, and almost like breathe it, like resonate it. And then you want to raise your rates so that you can serve at a level that is really powerful without resistance, without resentment, without feeling overwhelmed by it. So that's number 3. And number 4, you want to rewire your brain and your nervous system for expansion. And you want to embody expansion through and through so you can become a lighthouse. And you can essentially have people just want to be in the field of your glow. You want to operate in your business, in every area of your business, from expansion, from your messaging to your marketing, to your offers, to your pricing. You want your business to essentially be a ripple, a reflection of expansion, because what people buy is expansion, and the expansion they perceive is possible for them. So you want to be literally like the face of expansion. So that's what I have for you. Here's my CTA, my call to actions for you guys. If you sense that in some way you're blocking your ease, you're blocking your visibility, your ability to attract or enroll clients with ease in a way that feels nourishing to you, and to receive abundantly without having to, sacrifice a whole lot for it, and you're ready to rewire yourself and your business for expansive and enjoyable growth and wealth without stressing, without second guessing, without spinning, without sabotaging, then I might just be the right mentor for you. And you can click the link in the description to book a Wired for Wealth call. So what I do is I marry nervous system regulation and recoding work with customized and strategic, simple messaging and marketing to help you achieve your goals in a way that is simple and is enjoyable and is fast, aka without having to work so damn much or lose your sanity in the process. So when you click the link in the description, you're going to get two options. One option is to do a Wired for Wealth clarity call with me. And that's essentially 30 minutes. It's free. And it's for you if you know, I'm sold, I'm ready to start working. Which of your programs, Ilsa, should I enroll in? And what we'll do in this program is we'll look at where you're at, what's going on with you, where you want to be, and then I'll give you a rundown of which programs I have. And based on your time, based on your budget, based on your goals, we will figure out how to start working together in a way that feels really good to you. And it's going to get you results, because that's the aim. The other options you will see in here is a 90-minute Wired for Wealth breakthrough intensive. And that's also with me. And it's essentially a 90-minute to 2-hour intensive where you and I do some really deep work. And we usually focus on one area. So we'll either focus on your messaging or your marketing, or we'll focus on a block in your nervous system. And my aim during these is for you, one, to get a real sense of who I am and how I work, and for you to have a breakthrough, a real sense of clarity and shift by the end of that session, so that you know if you want to continue working with me or not. And if you do want to continue working with me at the end of that one session, then we will, I'll give you a rundown, essentially same thing as with the clarity call. I'll give you a rundown of my programs, and we'll pick something that makes sense for you and is a right fit for you. These 90-minute sessions are essentially 55% off. Usually they're $333. When you work with me, when you're a brand new person, you work with me for the first time, they're $149 for 90 minutes to 2 hours of really deep work with me. So just click the link and you can pick and choose what you want. I would love to help you unlock your potential and create easeful and fast results in a way that really nourishes you. It nourishes both your heart, your soul, and also your bank account. So that's what I have for you. I hope it served you. Thank you for all of you who were literally live with me and chatting with me. Sharon, Vicky, thank you very much. And I will talk to you guys soon. Have a lovely rest of your weekend.